Hey, Aries, and welcome to your March reading. I'm Madeline, if we haven't met before, and I am delighted to read for you this month. Also, happy solar return, happy birthday, happy personal new year to my Aries that are born this month. Exciting times, especially with that eclipse happening in Libra on March 25th. Keep an eye on your relationships, your diplomatic relations, your business alliances, etc., etc. We'll talk more about that. We'll see how the cards unfold. So, as always, Aries, we will pull a tarot spread to look at the story of March for you, and then we will cap off your reading with a little guidance from your stars from the Star Codes Astro Oracle deck. And let's get into it, shall we? Thank you, Spirit. We want to know what is showing up for Aries, month of March. Aries Sun, Aries Moon, Aries Rising, and Dominant Folks. What they need to know for their highest good, Spirit, for their joy, abundance, fulfillment, peace, security. What do they need to know? What is the truth for Aries in the month of March? What themes are showing up for Aries people? And what do you want them to know for their highest good, Spirit? What kind of elements are surrounding them? What kind of guidance would you like to give them on how to operate within the elements and dynamics around them? We want to know, Spirit, how Aries can use the present and even information from the recent past to tend to their unfolding future for their highest good. Just a couple more for Aries. Aries people in the month of March. Thank you, Spirit. Feels like a nice hefty chunk of cards. Let's see what we got here. Birthday bonuses. Okay. See you. All right. Let's go. Woo, sometimes things are too much and you can trust yourself. Sometimes it's time, there can be phases, organizations, rules, traditions that work for us, that nurture our growth, that bring us fulfillment and understanding and clarity and etc. And then those things can run their course. We can outgrow religions, philosophies, uh, organizations that we once highly identified with. I feel like that is showing up for you this month, Aries. And I mean, that makes sense. It's your solar return. It is a time of reflection. I referred to it earlier as your personal new year. As I turn over the judgment card, the wake up call card, the commitment card, the what are we doing? What do we want to do card. Wow. Okay. You're at the end of a cycle. Feels like kind of a gimme again with your solar return coming up, whether you're a March baby, April baby. Center of your spread. Hierophant. Crossed by the Eight of Cups. So the Hierophant, sacred wisdom, sacred order, traditions, rules, gates and gatekeepers. Eight of Cups tells me that you are through among several other things here. So good time to remind you, Aries, of course, these are general readings. You're watching it on YouTube, right? So I'm going to get a lot of messages for a lot of different Aries people. Some of them will resonate, some of them won't. Kind of like reading a good horoscope. It's like, okay, some of these themes are going to apply, maybe not every single one, right? So take what resonates. If certain things bring up more questions than answers, then just assume that that is for some other Aries. That's kind of my rule of thumb. More questions than answers? Okay, that's not for me. So, more reasons to know that you are at the end of a cycle. Crowning your reading, the Ten of Swords, it's done to death. It's beating the dead horse, as they say. Ten of Wands in the basement, overloaded, burnt out, super like charred. Okay, like there's burnt out and then there's charred. Ten of Swords and Ten of Wands would imply that some of you are feeling charred. And that can be the Eight of Cups combined with those ending cycle cards. And we're not even done yet. We've got more. This is a very clear reading. Um, the Eight of Cups shows up when we have to proceed with faith, when we don't know what's on the other side, but we know that what we are leaving behind us is so truly not for us anymore, not helping us. What I'm hearing very clearly is become the person that we want to be. So, and I'm also hearing this very clearly. For some of you, this is very much around religion and like the neighbor of religion, which is like political affiliation, where it's like, damn, I used to fully believe in this. I was totally invested. I was here for all the, the other thing about the Hierophant is it's kind of like the giving orders, giving and accepting those orders. In many versions of the Hierophant card, there's this Pope looking figure, and then there are these two disciples. So the giver and the receiver of those orders. There can be certain rules that you used to live by that you're realizing are like, wow, what Spirit is saying is like killing you / killing your spirit. Okay. Don't take that literally. The Ten of Swords, as much as I say beating the dead horse, right? And Ten of Swords, is often pictured a guy with a bunch of swords in his back, laying flat on the ground, looking very dead. But the swords are the realm of the mind. It's overdone. It's overstretched. It's like Spirit is showing me like threadbare. So you know that it's time to walk away. And it feels like pretty fucking definitive for most of you. And now, another reminder that you have many signs in your chart. Maybe you have your sun in Aries and that's why you're watching this, or you're in Aries rising, or what have you. You can have other areas of your chart that are super highlighted, and maybe checking out those videos will give you a broader message if you're not like, yep, this is me. I'm leaving my church, or I'm leaving my relationship, or I'm leaving my party, or I'm leaving my whatever. What you are moving on and toward, I must say, looks brighter, better. There's a lot more movement. There may have been some sense of um, spinning your wheels. Again, grinding, burning. It's hard to leave what you used to love. Sitting in the past, Six of Cups. You can see the same figure in the Eight of Cups. There's a wistfulness, there's a nostalgia. There was perhaps a waiting for things to return to the way that they used to be. Or for some of you, Spirit is saying there's a realization that this was never what it used to be. Like, oh, I'm wishing for a point in a relationship when that person was actually not being themselves. Like if you're looking at rose colored glasses at the beginning of a relationship that used to feel so wonderful and nourishing and like it was growing and bountiful and etc. And it's like, oh, but that was because that person was not really showing me their full self. The last year and a half has been this person's actual self, and it's not good for me. You know what I mean? So we can kind of like, the veil is dropping. That's what I'm fucking hearing as I say that, is the veil is dropping. So if you had like a wishful thinking or a wistful thinking about someone or something, or a past time in your life, or a past time in this organization, or whatever, it's the veil is slipping, and you are realizing that growth for not just you but your soul. I mean, that's the implication of the Eight of Cups. My soul is craving more. Well, good news. Sitting in the future, more. Wheel of Fortune, a beneficial change in your luck, a leap forward. And sitting in the position representing where you find yourself, Three of Wands, ready for the adventure, on the adventure, as a matter of fact. I mean, feels to me like you've taken steps, and this would imply, haha, literal, the taking of steps. So, another card about completing cycles and beginning new ones. The wheel has changed. It has shifted. The season has changed. It has shifted. If you don't know, as the Eight of Cups would imply, if you don't know what's on the other side of leaving this behind, it's a good time to pause. And maybe you're like, no, I'm not done. Yeah, I'm burned out. Yeah, I'm exhausted. Yeah, it's not really working, but like, I'm not really done. Okay, so another really important bit of information that you're going to hear if you have spent any time at this channel: your free will is everything. Trust your own intuition above everything. All of this is tools and resources for you to do with what you will. Okay. Looks to me, though, like it's a good time to step back and do kind of an inventory, an energetic audit, if you will. How am I spending my resources, money, time, effort, and what is stacking up? What is giving me returns and what is not? It's time to make a decision. Just to back that up, sitting in the position representing your hopes and fears, judgment, the wake up call, the calling. Oh, this is what I meant to do, or oh, I really have to leave. That can be what the epiphany is for some of you. I would encourage you to move with the epiphany when you feel it. This is about the dead, proverbial, coming back to life, parts of you that maybe had to be exhausted, put down, left aside, abandoned in order for you to be a part of whatever this is, being reawakened, rebirthed. And what pairs well with the rebirth? The key, death. When I said that there were so many cards here of cycles, ending and beginning. Now, this is the key, okay? Death, closing a chapter. How many? How many do we want? Closing a chapter, ending a cycle. What isn't feeding your soul? That's the simple, straightforward question that Spirit is asking. Spirit's like, if you're not leaving a school, an organization, a family order, whatever, a philosophical, a political party, whatever, what is no longer feeding your soul? What maybe, in fact, on the dark and heavy end is like killing your spirit? What's weighing you down? What's making you feel unlike yourself? And Spirit is saying, you shouldn't worry or feel bad or identify with the fact that this is happening. Whenever this occurs, it is a calling to a greater version of you, a greater sense of self, a broader, bigger you. Okay? So I'm not trying to bypass the any grief or any fear that comes around leaving an old way of life and walking into a new one. It's just the new one looks so much better to me. And feel your feelings. Your feelings are very valid. Change is scary even when we want it, and that's okay too. And we can have kind of a, I don't want to speak these fears aloud. I don't want to, my thoughts create my reality. I don't want to create around this. Please express your fears. Please go ahead and speak, if only to yourself, out loud what your fears are, and then talk yourself through that. I don't feel like I have to belabor that. You're an Aries. You've got plenty of courage. But if you need more, that's what spaces like this are for. Let me know in the comments. Always happy to do that for you, Aries. But I see a new cycle of life, a new adventure. It really does feel like kind of a good time to make any clean breaks with things that are not feeding your soul. This can even be things like, I used to run my life in a certain way, maybe by very strict routines or strict rules. Now, this is very specific. This is certainly not for every Aries listening, but I am hearing that for some of you, this has to do with like disordered eating. Like, oh, I only allow myself this or that, or things like that. And you're discovering that maybe that's not good for you on multiple levels. Again, that's for somebody. Take it for what it is. Okay. So we're moving on to a much more exciting phase of life. A much less exhausting, more exciting is what Spirit is saying. And just to remind you, look at what these have in common. This verdant, beautiful, bountiful place that is just outside the darkness. Just outside that darkness. Just keep going. And then you'll be out in the light, remembering who the fuck you are and what the fuck you're capable of. So much adventure, courage. Life is like, we can get into funks or ruts or places where suddenly it feels like the aperture of life is closing. Oh, that's not possible for me, or etc. And um, spirit is like, and oftentimes something like a good talk with a friend, or a good walk in the early morning sun, or a good meal and a nap can help change our mind and open our mind up. So there's some mundane homework for those of you who might be feeling a little tapped out and exhausted and like, girl, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What good future am I walking? There's some love for you, okay? A lot of love for you. Okay. So spirit, knowing the story you just told us for Aries of March, leaving behind structures that have become limiting rather than supportive, recognizing their own growing emotional depth. What does Aries need to know for their highest good? What advice from their stars do you want to offer them for their highest good in the month of March? Wow, beautiful. These are two such gorgeous cards. Okay, so I feel like Spirit wants to give you a lot of encouragement. It was like, okay, yes, we know that was a lot of like death and rebirth and new you and well, personal new year, new you. And with all that heaviness, don't forget Three of Wands, Wheel of Fortune. There's so much goodness. Gemini, cross pollinate. So Gemini is an air sign. It's a chatty sign. It's a networking sign. Thus the bees for cross pollinate, sharing information, new things that can be born out of collaboration. Okay. And then we have Jupiter, abundance. Isn't it so beautiful? There is so much more on the table. That is what Spirit is saying. There is so much more on the table. So if any of you have also been feeling maybe um, like in a hermit phase, or a phase where your only interactions with other people have been in the form of like duty, it feels like, okay, time to hang with some people that remind me of how like funny and creative and powerful that I am, how abundant life is, that there is so much that I can reach out and take. Maybe I just have to change my position a little bit and change the rules a little bit, and then so much more is going to become available to me. How's that hit you, Aries? What you feeling? Let me know. You know where the talk box is, just south of this video. And also, if you ever want to get a personal reading, the way to do that is just south of this video. I truly hope that it is helpful, Aries. And if I don't see you before then I hope I'll see you in your mid-month reading. Till then, you are whole, you are worthy, and you are loved. Bye-bye.